When do Germans use the Präteritum and when do we actually use the perfect tense? For English speakers, that's sometimes kind of a riddle because it's very different from how it's done in English. But to lift the secret immediately, it's much easier in German than in English. And in this video, I will explain to you where there actually is a difference between the perfect and the Präteritum, and when Germans use perfect and when do they actually use the Präteritum. Hi, my name is Jan and I'm your German teacher here on EasyDeutsch, your YouTube channel for German grammar. Today's topic is the use of the perfect and the Präteritum in German language. Both are past tenses, and in English you cannot just simply swap those tenses, then the sentence will get at least a slightly different meaning. In German, that's different. How is it different? Let's switch into my ebook, German Grammar Explained Easily, and I will show you all the differences and when you actually use perfect and when the Präteritum in German. So we're here now in my ebook, German Grammar Explained Easily. Let's go to today's lesson, perfect versus Präteritum. So you see there are a lot of topics here and I already skipped it, and there we go. Perfect versus Präteritum. The first thing that you have to keep in mind is it's very different in meaning between German and English, because in German there is pretty much no difference in meaning at all. There is a very minor difference in meaning, which I will explain to you later on. But if you're on a beginner level, there is absolutely no difference for you if you use this version or this version. So, ich bin im Kino gewesen, that's perfect tense. I've been to the cinema. And ich war im Kino, I was in a cinema, that's Präteritum. And there is no difference at all. You can use both versions and it's both 100% correct in the day-to-day use, in the day-to-day conversation. There's absolutely no difference in meaning here at all. And also, you've probably heard this mistake when you've been talking to German people in English. I wasn't in England yet versus I haven't been to England yet. That's wrong versus correct. In German, those two sentences would be ich war noch nicht in England und ich bin noch nicht in England gewesen. They're both 100% correct. There's absolutely no difference whatsoever in German. So keep that in mind. Here, we do not have the same differences between, like in English, between those two tenses. In English, you have to use the correct past tense, otherwise it's probably people understand you, but it sounds weird and is not correct grammatically. In German, that's different. So when do we use the Präteritum? When do we use the perfect tense? Usually Präteritum is used a lot in the news, in newspapers, books, reports, and stories. So pretty much written stuff. And in spoken language, it's pretty much used exclusively for the verbs sein, haben, werden, and modal verbs. The perfect tense, on the other hand, is used in conversations, in personal letters and emails, which includes online. So Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or whatsoever. We usually use the same language that we use when we speak. Written, when I say written language, that means formal language. So when you write an essay or something like that, there you will see the Präteritum more often. But in spoken language, you will see it with those verbs. And there's a reason why we use Präteritum with those verbs, because if you put them in perfect tense, they usually come with a second verb combined to them. Like all the modal verbs use second verbs. Remember, it's ich kann heute nicht in die Schule kommen. There's the second verb. I can't come to school today. Here, we have irregularities in the word order if we use them in the perfect tense. And sein, haben, werden are simply very known, even in the Präteritum version, because we actually have to use them all the time with to create the perfect in the first place, or for the Plusquamperfekt. If you haven't heard about Plusquamperfekt, I will link the video about that in the info cards for you as well. And therefore, those are very known, and that's why we use them in Präteritum 2, and with those ones, just to make it easier, because we use the past tense that is actually making it easier for us, and with those verbs, Präteritum is easier. With pretty much anything else, perfect is easier. And sometimes you have some mixed verbs where the Präteritum version is actually known because of their past participles, so Partizip 2. We need the Präteritum version to create the Partizip 2 of them, and that's why they are also more commonly used in Präteritum, but it's never wrong if you use them in a perfect tense. It's just you will listen to that more often. And as a general rule, the further north you are in Germany, the more Präteritum you will hear. The further south you go, the less Präteritum you will hear. For example, in Austria, you will have pretty much the Präteritum exclusively for those ones here. And if you're in Switzerland, that's an interesting fact, they don't use Präteritum whatsoever. So they always use the perfect tense. Swiss German doesn't know the Präteritum tense, probably exactly for the reason that's too complicated. So always keep in mind, you don't really need the Präteritum tense of most verbs. You focus on the important ones. And if you think right now, but I like to do it like in my native language, like English used the simple past tense way more than German does, and it sounds better for you. Keep in mind, at best, you're immediately busted as non-native speaker, even if you don't have an accent, if you use too much Präteritum. And at worst, you will sound like a snob or a robot, and people from southern Germany, Austria, and especially Switzerland may even have problems understanding what you're trying to say if you try to use the Präteritum too often. So my strong advice is, especially in the spoken language, use Präteritum with sein, werden, and haben, plus the modal verbs. And everything else goes to perfect tense. That's never wrong. You can use perfect tense at all time, especially in spoken language, and it's never wrong. And we use it because it is easier. If you want to know more in detail what's the exception here, I don't have an English video for this, but I will link the German video for you, because this is actually pretty much B1 or rather B2 level. So I hope you can see now that German can be way easier than English, because just one more time, it is really no difference between Präteritum and perfect, especially in modern spoken language. So you can simply exchange whatever is easier for you, but like I said before, and like it is for most native speakers, perfect is easier most of the time. And I hope you've learned a lot in this video and that you like this video. And if you want to support me, share this video with your friends, leave the like here, and hopefully subscribe to my channel if you haven't done it yet. And if you like my content that much that you want to have this ebook too, I leave the link in the video description for you. There you can purchase this ebook and also 9 other ebooks that I've published so far. They are all explanation or exercise or even combined on all different topics about German grammar, like prepositions, cases, connectors. If you go through them, I can guarantee you will understand German grammar, because my philosophy is understand the 95% that just work according to the rule without any exceptions, because German has actually way less exceptions than your teacher maybe told you so far, because normal explanations always focus on those other 5% due to probably a little bit of German perfectionism. So those 5% can become an obstacle if it's too much in the focus for you to actually get the other 95%. And that's why I am focusing on the 95%. Then let's be honest, if you get 95% of all sentences right, you're pretty damn good. So let's always focus on those 95% from now onwards. And then I hope I will see you again in one of my other videos. And as always, viel Spaß und Erfolg beim Deutschlernen.